Hey guys, so I'm sure everybody's heard of what's happened in Las Vegas. 60 people have died, close to 500 have been injured, and probably more will die, unfortunately. And the guy who did it is the name of Stephen Paddock. He is apparently a resident there, or he lives in a elderly community not too far away. And this piece of shit motherfucker decided to go up on the 32nd floor of a building and then start shooting just indiscriminately at the crowd. Just women, children, anybody, right? Like, this is the biggest piece of shit human out there, right? Like, the type of person who wants to drag everybody down into their misery and make everybody feel as bad as they do or something, right? Like I don't know. I wish he didn't shoot himself, before the cops got in there. I wish he was kept alive so they can question him and then they could torture him later, right? But obviously they wouldn't. They would keep him alive and shit, but maybe being in solitary confinement 30 years would be a pretty bad torture because that's definitely what would happen to him. So, like, it's fucking horrible, and I'm not religious or anything like that, but my thoughts go out to your families and anybody who's lost loved ones, because yeah, that's it's fucking horrible. And right after these things always happen, it's like, there's always politicians, there's always stupid celebrities or whatever coming out saying things for political reasons, etc. Like, David Letterman came out, he said, like, the guy wasn't mentally ill, this wasn't a lone wolf attack, and he was a terrorist, right? And I don't necessarily disagree that he wasn't a terrorist. Like, yeah, this was a terrorist act, right? Like, I wouldn't define it like the same as a Muslim terrorist act or certain other terrorist acts where it's to change, political position of people. It's trying to create fear and stuff. Like, this guy, in my opinion, was just some lunatic who wanted to kill a lot of people. So it's a little different. But yeah, terrorist attack. It doesn't really matter what you call it. This guy's a scum motherfucker. But David Letterman is blaming, like, white privilege. It's like, really? Like, are you fucking serious, man? Like, at a time, political climate like this, where people are already super divided, you're gonna bring in, like, race into this, white privilege? What does that mean? Only white people are allowed to get away with shooting a bunch of people and then shooting themselves in the head? Like, I don't know what that statement means. It's he's just pandering to the fucking progressives whenever he's saying this shit, and he's just pandering, and he's just creating more division among people. And if you're a fan of his, this should let you know not to be anymore, right? Like, don't let that type of stuff slide. Like, whether it's on the right or the left, whenever people come in and they're trying to sow political division, you gotta call we gotta call that shit out. We can't just let it slide. We can't just let it happen. And then you have people like Hillary Clinton who come out, and she's got her hard on against the NRA, right? She hates fucking guns. And most leftists, far leftists, do, right? And they're essentially their goal, which they say isn't, like, oh no, we don't want to take all your guns. That's not true. They actually do. Now, there's obviously a bunch of Democrats and stuff that have guns and like guns and stuff, like liberals, but I'm saying that your leadership, they want to get rid of all the guns. And there may be a few people in there peppered in trying to be like, oh yeah, see, I like guns. But no. Now, like, honestly, their goal is to get rid of all of them. And she's coming in, she's saying, imagine if the guy had a silencer, then how many more people he could kill. It's like, really? You think like a silencer? It's like, first of all, silencers usually will dampen, like, the projectile. It won't be as strong. So maybe the bullets wouldn't have went as far in, and maybe more people would have lived. And you still see the muzzle shot, from a silencer. It just silences the sound, but you can still see, the the spray right where it's coming from. So she's interjecting the whole silencer thing, which is nonsense. It's like, I don't know why liberals and stuff like that are all against silencers. Like how many murders are committed with silencers? Like what is this? It doesn't make any sense. They always want to ban things that weren't even used in the fucking crime. It wasn't even used in the crime. And the gun that was used was an illegal gun already. And criminals do not follow laws. So whenever you make laws, they're just going to bypass them. Right? That's what they do. So your whole gun narrative is nonsense. And then the tweet following that, she's like, our grief isn't enough. We can and must put politics aside, stand up to the NRA, and work together to try to stop this from happening again. It's like, we must put politics aside, but let's inject politics right back into the conversation right afterwards and stop the NRA. It's like, what? Imagine if this woman fucking won the presidency. She would have written an executive order, probably by now, to take away a large portion of your guns, or whatever. Maybe all of them. Some huge buyback program, because there's already a bunch of leftists coming out saying, oh, we got to get rid of all of them, each and every one. But it's like, really, do you really want that? Like, look what's going on in Spain with the referendum there. They're not even like, those people, they want to leave in Catalonia or whatever. Like, they don't want to be there, but their government's gonna be like, no, fuck you, we don't care. We're just gonna beat you in the streets, and you're gonna have to do what we tell you. You know why? Because they don't have guns. That is the reason why. So there are these offshoot events that do happen where a crazy guy does get a hold of a gun, and even if people within the crowd had guns there, they probably couldn't have done anything, right? Because the guy was high up in the air. And there's going to be these circumstances that will happen in a free society, right? There are going to be some crazies, but then, you can have a whole other discussion about, mental health, and then, how the government is treating that, and all this other shit. There's many things to going into why shootings happen, or etc., right? So, but I kind of lost my train of thought, honestly. But yeah, like, I think we just need to realize that people like Hillary Clinton and etc. are just out there to divide people, that are there to essentially take away as many rights as they possibly can from you. So they will try to convince you it's a good idea to get rid of your guns, but it really isn't. You don't want to end up like Spain. But that's all I pretty much had to say about this. Hopefully the death tolls do not rise anymore, and we don't have any more cowardly motherfuckers like this that want to take out a bunch of innocent civilians because they're depressed or some fucking shit. That's all I had to say.